going to forever be the home of sports casting, or are we seeing other things like FanDuel, Bally? I know Bally is changed, but the podcast nation. Like, are we moving away from? I know that I've had as a baseball consumer, I have to move away because they only have baseball tonight, and that's once a week, and they rarely talk about it. So I don't really have.
You a goddamn lie. That means you don't watch the other ESPNs. They got 8 ESPNs, nigga.
No, nigga, no, you wrong because ESPN.
They have baseball all day on ESPN Deportes.
And look.
Yeah, they do talk about baseball a lot.
Hold up. But not to mention, this is the part that you're not. They also have ESPN Radio that talks about baseball.
And they got the ESPN app where you can pull up live stream games.
But why am I having to subject myself to just airways for radio when I want to see the same kind of content that NFL, MLB, and damn near NHL at this point gets as opposed to MLB? And I get with ESPN specifically, they got a beef with MLB because MLB shopped for more streaming, and they gave Apple.
You'll get that shit in July when there are no other sports to show.
All right, we'll see. We'll have to see because I think normally when that happens, it normally goes directly into the NFL. They go right into the NFL.
No, bro, NFL don't come back until mid-September. You got.
It don't matter. They still.
You got the WNBA.
They still.
You got NFL. You angry? Calm down. Take your heart out of it, Vincent. I'm trying to explain it to you.
I've been trying. Look. I watch First Take. I watch.
That's such a subject.
I watch all that shit. But I know that if I want to know about what happened with the Dodgers last night, if I want to see whether or not the Cardinals won, if I need to know whether or not there's any updates from ESPN, I'm only going to see it at the bottom of the screen. They're not going to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And
because it's not nothing. What do you want them to talk about though? Like,
because there are other seasons going on.
Man, y'all touching the subject right now.
But ESPN has always been a highlight-based sportscasting show. If baseball does, listen. I know you love baseball. We all know you love baseball, but baseball is not always exciting to watch. That's what I'm saying.
Especially 3 months into the season.
But how can you grow the excitement if you treat it like a bastard stepchild? If you're constantly putting NFL leaks and shit that's going to happen with the draft months from now as the lead-in story, instead of showing shit like, oh, how so-and-so got thrown out or how many home runs was hit, nobody actually gets the exposure because it's treated like a bastard stepchild in a back seat. And for that reason, one of the main sources of sports is not treating the sport with the respect that I believe it deserves. I think that ESPN started on baseball and was like, oh, y'all going over to them hoes? Well, fine, go be with them because we got these other sports. And I think that the paper proves it too because it's just like a look at the money. What's up, Ryan?
I mean,
okay, so one thing that you're not one thing that you're not taking into account
right now. Let's stop.
This one thing that you're not taking into account.
Go ahead.
Hold on, I gotta cook again. One thing that you're not taking into account is that ESPN, like Ty said, started off as a highlight-based network, and then ESPN had to start competing with all of the competition. They created the NFL network, which talks about nothing but football all day, every day. So now they have to compete with the NFL network. Then they came out with NBA TV. That talks about nothing but basketball all day, every day. So they got to compete with that. And then not only that, the cable and dish providers came out with NFL Sunday Ticket, NBA League Pass, NHL Center Ice. These are services where motherfuckers can get all the games at all times on all networks. ESPN, like, nigga, we got to be able to compete. That's why shows like Get Up, First Take, Rich Eisen,
Around the Horn,
and all the other shows that come on, they have to compete with the other shit that's on Fox Sports and then on all the other networks until those other networks start focusing on baseball, ESPN ain't got to worry about you losing them because of baseball, because they got 8 channels. And then finally, you gotta remember, bro, that when it comes to baseball, ESPN will forever be the lead sports channel, and that's word to Stuart Scott, because the podcast space exists now as counter ESPN culture. Barstool Sports and all them exist as counter ESPN culture. Imagine if ESPN starts paying niggas to do all the smoke, starts paying niggas to do a Gilbert Serena. Imagine if ESPN starts sponsoring podcasts or starts producing podcasts. We already know that they took over the HBO Showtime documentary space when they started making 30 for 30s.
Yep.
Well, okay.
But they doing exactly
when
what you just
ESPN
said.
put their mind to some shit, they'll take over.
But look, Black Ron, to your point, they're doing exactly what you just described. So say you do have a podcast and you start hitting numbers and you start raising awareness to whatever sports talk you do. What do? They recruit you. They bring you on as an analyst. Shay, they saw Shay on Undisputed. They saw that he had potential. He went after Undisputed and started doing his own damn podcast. Started getting leverage, gaining leverage, gaining all that. Yes, they immediately went and snatched him up.
In the words of Bubba Dub.
Cam Newton also started a podcast.
Oh, can we name regular people, not like actual podcasters, and not ex?
Oh, how about Gilbert Arenas?
Gilbert Arenas, you got Gilbert Arenas. You got.
What are you talking about?
Hold on. You also got like he just said, Bubba. I mean, you look at all the guys on the podcast. He bringing them on.
They brought Bubba Dub on ESPN. They brought him on ESPN.
And all that
Rob Cosby.
Ron said, "Oh, they've got to compete with NFL TV. Oh, they've got to compete with MLB TV. I mean, excuse me, with NBA TV. But there is literally an MLB TV and MLB
that they don't have to compete with.
Why not? Why would they have to compete with them?
Talk to your other baseball fans, my nigga. Talk to your other baseball fans. Guess what? MLB TV ain't even smart enough to air Savannah Bananas games.
Yep.
Actually, hold on. There's some dissent with regard to that because you're talking Major League. It's in the title. So come on, let's not, Major League Baseball.
I only brought that up. I only brought that up because like who just signed a major motherfucking deal with ESPN and Fox?
They get 6 games. Bananas. 6 games. 6 broadcasts.
It doesn't.
My point. Let me prove my point. Because y'all have not.
No, nigga, I just proved your point. I just disproved your point.
That's not Major League Baseball.
Okay. Who just signed a deal with XFL?
I'll wait.
Dude, what does any of that have to do with how ESPN is treating baseball? Let's look at this for a second. You would think that
who signed a deal with Big 3?
Oh, and that was Dwight Howard.
So this is ESPN's Instagram. Tell me
who signed the deal with Power Slap.
Tell me what sports are currently active based on the posts that we see as we scroll down.
Who signed the deal with UFC?
Which sports? Okay, I see a lot of
ESPN. They got everybody. They got everybody.
Basketball.
ESPN got everybody.
I see.
What you see, Vince. What you see is trending. What you see is what's trending. You cannot be mad.
That's the For You page.
Hold on a second, bro. Bro, no, because you're trying to skip past this, and I'm trying to enlighten this.
Enlighten
to it. Like, listen, you're getting mad because baseball. Listen, you
getting mad because nobody think your girl pretty, but you.
and that's look, but that's exactly what that is exactly right.
He is really.
You're mad because you're the only one. If I'm saying that page you're showing is all trending topics, that means people other than yourself are interested in it. What I'm telling you is probably if we did a survey, 1 out of probably 4 or 5 fans are baseball fans. Right. 1 out of 4 or 5 fans are baseball fans.
That is
now
true.
You want them to focus on something that one.
That's right, internet. You get him.
But he's telling you the truth, though. I mean,
okay, well, mad. You cannot get mad that a sports broadcasting network.
How many fans are NHL fans?
And guess what? The only time, since you want to bring that up, the only time that the NHL gets coverage is during the NHL playoffs, dog.
How many? One.
That's why it's being covered right now. Is because the NHL playoffs are going on.
Fans.
The only time that ESPN covers the golf is when it's a major tournament. So keep going.
Listen, I think here's the thing that's a little frustrating about
No. You just brought those things up for what?
Here's the frustrating part.
While I was over there smoking, I thought of something right quick, and I'm finna cook. Y'all come to the table. Y'all come to the table.
Hold on. Let me get Ron's thing up. All right, give me a second.
See, ESPN has posited themselves as having a finger on the pulse of what drives the world, of what drives global sports media. Whereas good old Rupert Murdoch and them good insurrectionists, them good Capitol Storm and January 6ers, and the good folks over at Fox and Fox News have championed all things white sports. So if you look at all the sports that Fox just signed contracts for, they got college football, which is Big 10, Big 12, SEC, white institution college football. They have America's Game of the Week, which is the 3:00 game on Sunday, which is usually the Cowboys or the Redskins. They have NASCAR and baseball. Those are all sports that speak to an ostensibly white fan base and demographic. Whereas ESPN is touching the culture. They got Little League World Series that show you baseball from all over the world. They got boxing.
By the way, Lake Murray, Florida won last year. Shout out to Lake Murray right quick. Peeps. Go ahead. Sorry.
They got ESPN is owned by ABC. So they got, which is Fox's direct fucking competitor, not NBC, ABC. ESPN has, ESPN is owned by ABC, which is owned by Disney. So they got all the other sports. What is Disney famous for? Touching the world, Craig. Not
and
just
all
white
the kids.
folks.
And all the kids.
Not just white folks, my nigga. They got Euro Disney, Disney France, Disney Japan. They got Disney everywhere. So it only stands to reason that their global sports footprint touches everywhere and everything.
All I want to make sure that is included in this conversation is the facts with regard to the contracts. And there is a deliberate right now, I don't want to say an attempt, but a neglect of the sport as a result of this breakup. Let me just make sure I'm clear. ESPN to end broadcast partnership. They're already laying the seeds for getting rid of it. You got to read why, because y'all are going to be like, well, because nobody give a fuck. All right, here's why. The reason why is because...
Blow it up so we can read it.
All right, well,
unless you're going to use your reading skills, bro, because I can't see that shit.
Yeah, you know that nigga can read out loud.
We are great.
Whatever, man. You can read now. See it?
I got that 20.
That better. Blind ass.
ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball. The Major League Baseball games.
I can read it. Man, goddamn, man. Shit, I still.
Okay, go.
All right. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball games will conclude at the end of 2025. It was announced Thursday. There was a March 1st deadline for MLB and ESPN to opt out of the final 3 years of their contract. The sides agreed to a 7-year deal in 2021 that averaged $550 million per season. We are grateful for our long-standing relationship with Major League Baseball and proud of how ESPN's coverage super serves fans. This network said in a statement, in making this decision, we applied the same discipline and fiscal responsibility that built ESPN's industry-leading live events portfolio as we continue to grow our audience across linear and digital social spectrums. Platforms. Now, I do want to say also that MLB Network launched before this deal and has grown since, so that also has contributed to this. All right, let me continue. As we've been throughout this process, we remain open to exploring new ways to serve MLB fans across our platforms beyond 2025. ESPN has carried MLB games since 1990, but cut back its coverage in the current contract to 30 regular season games, mostly Sunday night in the wild card postseason. ESPN had the home run derby and spring training games. The previous 8-year deal, which ran from 2014 to 2021, saw ESPN broadcast up 90 regular season games. ESPN also stopped airing daily baseball tonight, which is where you get your
Stop right there. Stop right there. Now scroll back up.
What?
Scroll back up 2 paragraphs higher. Right there. Go back. Right. Keep one more right there. As we have been throughout this entire process, we remain open to it. Now, right there, right before that. Boom.
What's the problem?
In making this decision, we apply the same discipline and fiscal responsibility that has built ESPN's industry-leading live event portfolio as we continue to grow our fan base, which means we ran the numbers.
No.
We were showing 90 games with little to no viewership.
No.
We cut that shit down to 30 games and niggas still not watching.
You're speculating. No. This is coming because of the deal that Apple was making. What?
That makes no sense. And ESPN just outbid TNT to get NBA coverage from them.
I'm not asking ESPN to air all of the baseball games. But
that's what you asking.
No, I'm not. I didn't ask for baseball to be run with the games, but to be covered. Yeah, I shouldn't have to leave the sports network to go somewhere else to find.
That means people stop watching Web Gems. That means people stop watching baseball tonight.
You're really trying to tell me that every single thing that you see on SportsCenter is something that you really gave a fuck about?
I just told you. No.
It's fuck shit, and you be like, I have no interest in this, but I'm watching.
Nah, that's not the case though.
Baseball community that's being neglected,
bro. Like, I don't know how many times we got to say this. When ESPN plays those what you call nobody cares about things, it's because it's trending. It is a global thing. It is not. When you see Power Slap on ESPN, it's because it's
you started right out my fucking mouth. Because
if you see a sport that you never saw before, and then all of a sudden you see it being covered by ESPN, it's because it's trending on social media.
Do you remember 21 years ago, ESPN showed us the &1 mixtape tour? It's because street ball was the popular thing in the motherfucking streets at the time. Nigga, if highlight became the sport of the people, ESPN will be showing us the national highlight championships every fucking year. If pickleball or cornhole became the shit to play, my nigga, last year they showed the Big 3 championship on ESPN.
And they bringing it back.
Hold up. This year, we win and we don't even got to go last year. What did I just tell you, Vince, about that ESPN was playing? And I was like, damn, man, I didn't even know this was a thing. That golf. The virtual golf shit tournament thing.
TPP.
Yes. Why are they doing that? Because it's trending. It literally was
it's trending because it's not trending. They're pushing it because they can make money off of it.
That's why they did
it. Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question to Vince? Just a quick question.
Nobody gives a fuck about TVL.
What do you consider trending then?
Well, obviously we all have different.
Yeah, because you mistake shit that you like for shit that's trending. I don't like Sexy Red, but she trending like a motherfucker.
I ain't lying.
I don't think trending and things that I like are synonymous. I don't agree with that. But I do think that everybody, if you use
a pistachio ice cream ass nigga. Nobody really likes it, but a small percentage. But you want it on the shelf at every store.
Pistachio.
No, that's not true. But Apple Games, I prefer the pineapple game. Than all the little.
No, what I'm saying, baseball is pistachio ice cream. It's good as fuck to the people that like it, but it's indifferent to the motherfuckers that would rather eat cookies and cream.
Raise your hand if you're a fan of you're a fan of roof football.
Oh yeah. All right.
What? Roof football.
Roof?
Yeah. You know.
I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it.
Well, oddly enough, ESPN has this shit on the weekends airing live because everybody evidently thinks it's quote unquote trending. Y'all ain't never even heard of it, but this is a whole thing. They're airing this shit on ESPN. This and a whole bunch of other. Now the slap shit is hilarious.
And apparently, is more people watching that than 9 innings of baseball.
True, because the motherfuckers that want to watch baseball have to go to MLB TV to get their fix.
No, that's not what it is. That's not what it is, man. What it is the people that really like baseball and every select baseball market are really at the game. It's not really that many motherfuckers at home watching it at home.
Okay. So how many games y'all been to this year? Basketball, because y'all really don't fuck with it. You better tell me you've been to every goddamn game or at least one.
You know how much it costs to go to a basketball game?
Do you know how much it costs to go to a Dallas Mavericks game? Nigga, I don't live in no C market like Oklahoma City.
What the fuck?
You live in Dallas. You literally.
It don't matter.
That's an A market, nigga.
It don't matter.
Do you know how much Dallas Mavericks tickets cost? Nigga, we had Luka and then we had AD. You know how much Dallas Mavericks tickets cost, cuz?
You telling me that I gotta buy a ticket if I'm a real fan, but you telling me that you ain't that you a real Mavericks or a Dallas fan, but you ain't been to their game. Like that ain't making no sense.
I ain't been in no game this season. No.
Let's keep it consistent.
I feel like this is going every. This is going.
Hold up, let me ask you a question. Let me ask a question, T. Let me ask you a question. Y'all said something a couple weeks ago. Y'all was talking about the same subject. Y'all were talking about.
I didn't want to go here.
Yeah, but they were talking about it.
Sensitive ass nigga, you wanted to go here. Well, no, like baseball.
Hold up, T. This question is for T. Check this out. Y'all discussed this about a couple weeks ago about people not coming up to the games, baseball. Y'all was looking at. It's still the same, Vince, is what I'm telling you. If you elaborate on that, and maybe he'll understand where you're coming from, because it's all about the money right there. And if nobody is watching it, no reason for us to put it on there.
Not that nobody's watching it, okay? I don't think that NHL has better numbers. In fact, I have this for a fact. I know that NHL numbers are lower than MLB, but it gets a lot of coverage. Here's the fact.
Don't do that. And no, because you do that all the time. You say something and then you try to get past it. No, nigga. No, I'm not. You do this all the time. Yo, this is what I just said.
At the end of the day, what has to happen? I won't do that. I ain't down like that. But all I was saying is that the contract is impacting what's happening. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
No, all right, but what you've been doing is trying to make these false accusations that support your argument. Folks $500 million. You just said. I know NHL ain't more thing than baseball. And what I said was the ESPN only covers NHL when the playoffs are going on. It is the playoffs. That is not bullshit. Now, if you're talking about scores, which they do recaps every day of baseball or highlights of an NHL game, that's different. But to say that they cover the games, they only cover the games during playoffs. That's when they cover the game.
They do have a hockey.
Because it's too many games. It's too many games.
Here, at the end of the day, we ain't gotta go here. Look, I know I'm an anomaly. I'm the rock on the other side of the pond. I get it. I ain't tripping. But I'm frustrated about it, and this is the only place I got to vent that. So at the end of the day, that is what it is.
I mean, hey, bro, maybe if pistachio ice cream started doing other shit with other desserts, it might get well liked. But as of right now, it's fucking pistachio ice cream. And unless you really love pistachios,
have you actually had pistachio ice cream?
No, but I'm about to go find it.
I haven't either, so I don't know whether I like it or not. But what I'm hearing is that a bunch of people don't even fuck with pistachio and never even tried it.
That's baseball. Baseball has become pistachio ice cream. The only Americans that play baseball are mostly white.
And to the
is how it has to be.
Well, look, to your point, you pulled up the article. You pulled up the article and showed us the article. Based upon the article that I read, the same one that you showed us, this was not just a random decision that ESPN woke up one day. Hold on.
I've been trying to tell y'all.
Oh, okay. Listen, let me finish. This wasn't a thing that ESPN just woke up from one day and was like, we don't want to do MLB anymore. No, there was a literally a data analyst that looked at how this profitability numbers versus what we're investing in coverage. So
don't nobody take away 2/3 of something that's successful.
That's for successful.
Yeah, white people
they went from 90 games. They went from 90 games of coverage to 30 games of coverage, which they said, okay, it's not working on the large sample size, so we'll go with a smaller.
Hold on, Ty. Don't skip over this. They went from 90 games of coverage to 30 games of coverage, and was still paying them niggas $500 million a year.
No. You guys are excluding
No, nigga, the terms of the contract said $550 million per year for the last 8 years. Yet they cut their coverage down 2/3.
Answer me this one question, Ty. You said that they have an analyst that's looking at these things. Is that what you're reading in the article, or are you assuming that?
I'm from a business standpoint. It makes.
I don't know any.
That's his
opinion. I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that specifically in the article.
Make sure that we're clear about that. So one of the reasons that it's being outsourced is because there are other sources that do want to cover the sport. At the time, there was Bally Sports, and then you also had MLB join that, and now you got FanDuel and other companies that are also picking up the slack where that stuff happens. So that MLB doesn't have the ability.
There are 182 regular season games
62
in baseball. That's not including playoffs, nor the World Series, the ALDS or the NLDS or the World Series. That's not including none of that.
Regular season.
So, and on top of that, they were already paying. If I'm already paying, let's just call baseball coochie. Right. I'm paying for this coochie. I get to fuck this coochie 90 times a year.
90 times.
Let's just call baseball coochie.
I'm paying this coochie $500 million to fuck 90 times a year.
Yeah, 90 times.
I don't care that somebody want to come fuck the other 90 days that she's available. I'm paying for 90 days. If I went from 90 days of fucking that coochie to 30 days of fucking that coochie, and I'm paying her the same amount every year still,
you lost your money.
That mean that coochie not good. That don't mean my money ain't no good no more. That mean I don't want to fuck her like everybody else want to fuck her. Go ahead, fuck her. She got 90. Matter of fact, not only do she got 90 more days available for you, she got 150 days for you now, boss. Because I'm gonna give you 60 of my days.
Mm-hmm. No, real talk. If you really look at it like that,
now if you really want to prove your point, young Vincenzo, go look at how many games are being broadcast by those other networks. If it equals to 150 games, now you got a viable fucking point. But if all those networks that are coming to shop with MLB still can't put together 182 broadcast games across how many teams?
Okay, this is like
how many teams?
Let me be clear. This
how
is
many teams?
30 teams. All right.
30 teams. So that's on average. They was giving one game to every team.
Yo, I don't see how this nigga do taxes.
You gotta keep the tax in here. Hold right, hold on, wait. Hold on, let me say this, and real quick, and then I'm gonna have to pee, and then maybe we can close. I don't know what the fuck going on.
I think you're talking from pride.
I'm talking out of honest.
I'm talking about pride like it's June.
Because this shit is really.
Listen. Let me just
say that boy got more pride than the month of June.
I thought I was gonna say something real quick and then move on to the subject, which was the PEDs in MLB. But y'all was like,
you want to borrow my skillet? You want to borrow my skillet?
No, keep skillet down. Not yet. I don't want the skillet. I'm good. I just want to say this real quick. At one point in time, and this is I'm crossing the streams here. All right, I got to cross the streams, but I'm across the streams here. At one point in time, Netflix was where I used to watch Marvel shows. I would watch Daredevil on Netflix. I would watch Luke Cage on Netflix. I would watch Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, which was trash, on Netflix, because that was where Marvel was putting it. Okay, they also put some content on Hulu, and they would put it other places. In fact, there was some teasing of Marvel having their own entity. While they were doing this, DC was like, "Fuck that. We're gonna make our own shit." And they started making shows like Swamp Thing and putting it on their own website, and you had to get it there exclusively. Marvel saw what happened, and they collaborated with Disney, pulled all their shit off Netflix, and said, "Fuck that. You want this shit? If you really like it, come on, get it. It's right over here on this Disney plate. Let's go ahead and go back across the river." MLB is looking at how it's being outsourced. They're looking at the potential money that they could have, and they say, "You know what? Why are we giving this away to everybody? We can make our own network." MLB in 2009 starts the MLB network. Then all of the arbitration at that point starts. Do we really got to give ESPN all these shows when we got our own network? Do we really got to give this that? So then you start seeing them not airing as many games. It's not because they just lost interest. It's because there is a new pathway for us to try to get all of the commerce out of this product. But then they start saying, "Well, look where the world is going. People are watching it on phones. So maybe we should offer Apple, Amazon, places like that a deal." They offer them a different deal than they offered to ESPN. And ESPN says, "Well, shit, why we got to pay why are we paying $550 million for what you're offering them for $8 million?" And they're like, "All right, we cool." So all this, they just don't like baseball, is not necessarily exactly what has happened. I'm just saying that there's more to the story with regard to what's going on
Vince,
ESPN.
you do realize that that's happening with every sport. Like that happened with football.
That's the way of life. Why would I pay this bitch $100 a fuck when she gonna let Pookie hit for some McDonald's? Go fuck Pookie then.
Yeah, and to your point, Vince, you just proved our point.
Thank you.
You sit here like a nigga saying, "Well, fuck, I don't need her anyway. I can go over here and get this pussy over here."
And on top of that, you lied, nigga. Because even though they started the MLB app in 2009, ESPN renewed their contract with Major League Baseball in 2014. Then they renewed it again in 2021.
No, they didn't. They had
go back and read what you just pulled up, nigga. Go back first of all, because I have a very good memory. It's part of being an autodidact. What the article said was ESPN and Major League Baseball just parted ways because they were 4 years into a 7-year deal. They had up until March the 1st to cancel their 7-year deal, and they canceled it. This is coming off the heels of an 8-year deal that they did from 2014 up until 2021. They renewed the deal for another 7 years in 2021, and they're canceling said deal as of March the 1st.
It was never an annual deal. It was always a multi-year deal. That was the only point
I said that. The first multi-year deal was in So let me say it again. They had a multi-year deal that they entered for $550 million a year that started in 2014. Correct. They renewed that deal in 2021 for another 7 years. Correct. They just rescinded that deal because the deadline to terminate was March the 1st of this year. So they left the contract with 3 years left on the deal.
I thought you were talking about last year, as in last year they started a new contract.
No,
You got
so
wrong,
if they
nigga.
started the MLB network, if they started the MLB network 16 years ago, they've been cashing in with ESPN for the last 9 years, cuz.
But the point
11, really and truly.
The audience did not go away. They just found a different home. The love for the sport.
That's what happened to them. They just found a new home.
Still exists.
So in other words, you sound like I should be able to go see whoever I want to see and still keep a sugar daddy. I should be able to fuck whoever I want to fuck. This is my coochie, but I still deserve to have a sugar daddy taking care of me.
Hey, y'all win, man. Baseball.
You want ESPN to be your sugar daddy. You want ESPN to cough up $500 million a year being your motherfucking sugar daddy, while you give that motherfucking mid-ass coochie to anybody that'll have it. Tubi can get some coochie.
So Vince is taking the Robert Griffin III approach. And,
where you going?
And
come back.
And rather than stand on your business, stand on business. You gonna run and hide behind.
Because he know you're right.
All I was saying with Vince is you're literally arguing over something that happens in every sport. And there was a time where the NBA coverage was being covered more on ESPN. It's not being covered as much on ESPN. Now you see it on TNT and TBS and all of these other platforms that it can now raise its pretty face on. Max, you can go to Max and watch NBA games, and you can go on Prime Video and watch NFL games, and you can go
YouTube
on Peacock.
TV.
You can go on Peacock and watch the Sunday football games, and on Monday night you might have to watch it on ESPN. Yo, this is what they do. This is every outlet realizing there's another check that I can get, and that's it. And you over here mad because
no one monkey stop no show.
Yeah, I'm saying, come on, man. It's just crazy, yo. And to hear you talk about
how do you expect?
ESPN smart. That's why they said we apply discipline and fiscal responsibility.
Yeah,
we went back and looked at our numbers, nigga. Wait a minute, we paying this hoe how much? And she ain't even been exclusive, and
they already had done it for years. It was like, man, fuck this. We out. I would have did the same fucking thing. Look how much money they saved.
$500 million a year is how much they save. And then think about it like this also. ESPN just lost ABC. They just lost their contract for the NBA. NBA moving back to NBC, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But ESPN also stole a fucking contract from TNT for the midweek basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball.
They lost one and gained one. Same with football. Fox then lost their motherfucking Sunday bid. It's then went to CBS. And Sunday night football is on
football. Oh yeah, it is. You're right. CBS on the daytime.
Yeah, I said CBS, bro. They had the Super Bowl last 2 years.
Yeah.
And then Sunday night football then went to NBC, like Peacock. You said, it's on Peacock.
NBC and Peacock.
Yeah. And then Amazon got Thursday nights.
Yep. They got the Thursday nights. And the only time that ESPN still has for football is Monday night.
Yep.
That's it.
And that's not even on ABC no more. That's moved strictly to ESPN now.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, once a motherfucker realize you giving your coochie to somebody else, what you can't do is demand the same dollar amount that you was selling your coochie for.
Man, you got some expensive ass coochie, Vince.
I was paying for exclusivity.
Your coochie is expensive, nigga. I ain't even gonna lie, nigga. You are telling this man that he gonna spend his money the way you want to spend it. Your coochie is amazing. Tell him.